Welcome to episode 57 of the Sweet Natured Cruise Cast. Hi, I'm Linz, as always I'm joined by Mikey.
Hello.
Hello, and today we're talking whether cruising is safe. But first, a little mood music.
You got that fever when you're listening to the stories that they spin, but there's a clarity out here where the open views begin. Keep it cool, let the rumors slide.
What did you think to today's result, or was it just too short for you to make an informed decision?
Yeah. I mean, it's got a vibe about it. I've got to say that.
I think you might like the vibe at the end of it. It's got that Peggy Lee.
You say Peggy Lee, I thought Billie Eilish.
There is a Billie Eilish element to it. It was specifically, it was meant to be a Billie Eilish take inspiration on a Peggy Lee down song.
Okay.
But I'll let you hear it at the end.
Thank you.
So-
This is not music history with Marky.
It's not. It's absolutely not. It's the Cruise Cast with Linzi Mark.
Well,
But today we're doing a bit of a different subject for us.
it's a bit heavy, isn't
It's
it?
a bit heavier one, but we'll try and keep it as light as we can.
Oh,
But
I'm not
with
sure.
everything
I
that's been in the
can.
news, we felt
Yeah.
we can't really not talk about it. It'd be a bit sort of daft not to.
I know, but
But we've also got a couple of news stories that
Yeah.
have nothing to do with what we're talking about in here. And there's no cruise confession. Why is that, Linz?
as we're saving them up
Until when?
for the big one.
Next episode.
Is it next episode?
It's the very next episode. It's the
Oh.
Late Night Lindsay Cruise Confession Special.
Oh, good grief. So, yeah, no wonder we're talking about what's good for your health in this one.
So we're going to go from the sublime to the ridiculous.
I don't know if this is sublime. I'm feeling uncomfortable and slightly icky already about the subject matter.
What, the confessions or this one?
This one, the confessions, I'm looking forward to. Well, late night Lindsay is definitely.
Well, let's sort of get into it a little bit then.
Yeah, so what happened was I quit my job in order to focus full time on this, and then the hantavirus tipped up. And it was almost like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't sort of gone at the point of recording like a previous big pandemic.
I'm going to feel.
But you were like, oh my good grief, have I made a terrible decision?
I was like that, and I feel.
I think that was the exact conversation we had.
Yeah, I'm mortified. Absolutely mortified. Who did I say I looked like? From Airplane. That's what kind of.
Lloyd Bridges. I picked a terrible week to quit at whatever
Working.
you want to do in there.
Because I literally looked that frazzled. I was like, what have I done? But now we have to talk about it because
do.
it was a thing.
Well, I think because it's had such a big thing in the news.
And then we had the norovirus one.
We did. And even though they're completely unrelated, it was certainly sort of put out in the main media and the newspapers and everything that about,
it was all linked.
Is cruising safe? It was all lead stories for, at least a day, distracted from other global issues. And the stories have sort of subsided again a little bit now.
Yeah.
But we know next time that there's another norovirus outbreak or, someone's poorly on a ship, it'll be sort of made into a much bigger thing than it is. But if we talk about the hantavirus one to start with.
This is making me so uncomfortable because I'm not an expert in
neither of us.
Virology, I can't even say it.
I don't claim to have read enough about this to be
Why are we
remotely an
talking
expert.
about that?
But I think as people who cruise a lot, we also would make sure that we have the concerns. And for me, it's always been about whenever we've been on a cruise. We've been on cruises where people have got sick on a cruise through things like norovirus type things or food poisoning or various stuff like that. Because if people don't take care of hygiene and don't wash as much and don't wash their hands or are not thinking about when they go on excursions the same, then there's likely to be things happening because you're in foreign environments where they're not sort of the things that you've come accustomed to and you've got more immunity in your own country.
Well, to me, and I'm only going to talk about what I've experienced because I don't feel qualified to talk about anything else that's going on.
That's all you can talk about.
Is, for me, my immune system does not like flying. I'm going to say that right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So
it's not that you don't like flying.
It's not that I have an issue with flying, but I don't like how flying makes me feel. And that can knock you off a bit.
Well, we've come back off land and cruise-based holidays where you felt okay. You haven't been ill. And then
the plane
is the thing that has sort of got you because you're in a confined location with other people.
Mm.
And, things spread.
I always wash my hands. When I'm on the ship. Now, the thing that I try to do, but I do forget, is the paper towel opening the door thing.
For when you come out of the bathroom?
Yes, I do try and remember, but when I've had a few drinks, I forget, and I feel bad about it. This is the thing. Well, I've washed my hands thoroughly, but I'm guessing if it's somebody who hasn't, that's the problem.
Whilst we're talking about cruise lines, this is just as relevant if you're staying in a hotel.
Yeah, or any kind of thing with lots of people.
The facilities for having better hygiene, I genuinely believe, is better on cruise lines than it is land-based destinations.
If there's a sink, I prefer to wash my hands in the sink before the buffet than just using sanitizer.
Yeah, absolutely. So have a good wash in there. The cruise lines like Royal Caribbean that built a whole song and literally a song and dance about it. And when you go in there, but they have the people going washy.
Don't you think it's sad though that they have to have somebody stood there patrolling,
dancing
and making sure that you do it? Don't you think that's weird?
Yeah, I feel that as grown people,
or is it for the children? Is that why they do it?
I have to say, I think it's as much for the adults as it is for the kids. Because you've obviously on all cruise lines and land-based destinations, you generally have that. But when was the last time we walked into a restaurant on land where there was the ability to wash up as you went into there, or hand sanitizer or anything? You just don't get it.
Not anymore.
It was during the pandemic,
and afterwards,
for a short time. That's all vanished now.
What was it?
Help out.
That was it. This is making me so uncomfortable. The whole thing.
But that's now vanished.
Yes.
That side of it.
What, the eating out?
No, eating out's come back with a vengeance. But
especially now the weather's got better.
It has,
again.
But the sort of sanitizer side of things on land has vanished. It's remained on cruise ships.
Yes, well, it didn't go away really because it was always the machines.
But when you get an outbreak such as norovirus, and people, especially, it generally spreads from experience and from what you hear via things like the buffets, where people are touching the tongs and not having washed their hands properly beforehand, or even touching the food.
Lift buttons, I think, are a
pressing
thing.
the bits and pieces like that. Anywhere where there's touchiness involved, then there's a chance for it to spread, as there is on land as well. But I feel that you've got a better chance on a cruise line of it being sanitised, but you are in an area where it's a captive environment, and you're all on there.
It is.
Then when you get off the cruise ship, which is what happened with the hantavirus, according to the reports, that's when it got brought back on. And that was a very small expedition ship, because when they talked about it being a cruise ship...
It wasn't a cruise ship as in a cruise ship.
No, very, very small number of passengers on there going to areas of...
But then very small places to hang out, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it wasn't like a 6,000 person cruise ship.
No, this is...
And you were going to destinations where hygiene isn't like you're going to a Disney World or something. It's a very
you're
different...
outside there, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a very different sort of environment. And I think that's where that problem happens, because then when you're back on the ship and it's a smaller environment like that one, it spread, and obviously that then made the headlines.
What also happens, I think, and this can happen even when you go on a land-based holiday and you fly, is that if you're working and you've been, you've not given yourself a break for a while, as soon as you relax, your body goes, oh, I know, I'm going to get a bug now. That happens so many times.
Yeah, it really does.
So that can always, that being in a relaxed state and drinking, and it makes you a little bit more susceptible. I've gone on holiday and taken vitamin C sachets with me. I'm going to do it again this time, because then
Just keep your body a chance.
Yeah. Because, you're trying different foods. They have it on the menus about how if you're having seafood or steak that's what they class as, undercooked or raw, then you are again more susceptible.
More prone, yeah.
Yes.
And especially when you do go to countries which are not your native countries, the way that they prepare food in those countries is different. And you have your tolerance for your own country.
Yeah.
Less so for how other people necessarily prepare it.
I think you just have to sort of take, like I try and take some personal responsibility. So in respect of washing my hands, I also like to wash, it's just wired into me. Yeah. To
be fair, you do exactly the same at home. You will go wash your hands before dinner.
Yeah.
Before you're eating.
Yeah. And with hot soapy water as well.
Yeah. But I think that's just, it's wired into you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you are right. I think you have to, there are things which are outside of your control that can spread around wherever you are. And, you can be in an office environment and someone comes in with a cold and everyone gets it.
Yeah.
It can be, no matter what you do, you can pick up a bug. But you have to take that personal responsibility of doing everything you can to not spread germs, but also to not catch anything.
Well, try and not catch anything. I mean, if somebody's like sneezing at you, there's not a lot you can do, really.
No, there's absolutely not. And I think that's why you're always that little bit edgier on a plane, because I know that we flew back from Barcelona one time, which is only a short flight, only a couple of hours. And I think it was when there was a PSG match playing and there were a load of PSG fans coming over to the UK.
And one of them was absolutely full of cold, sat like...
shivering, sneezing, coughing, and we're like, we are so getting a bug.
And I did.
Literally like 2 days later.
I did.
You had that same thing. And there would have been nothing you could have done with that because you're in that environment for a couple of hours on a plane.
Yeah.
Where it's just not there. I'm genuinely always much more aware of picking up something when I'm on a plane than I am on a cruise.
Well,
because there's nothing I can do about it on the plane. I'm just kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
There's less I can do. There's not a lot I can do on a cruise. As I say, if someone sneezes in your face, it's
great.
You're getting it, aren't you? But again, taking that personal responsibility. Yeah? If you know that you've got a cold and you're not feeling well, maybe stay in the cabin or go to the medical centre or contact the ship and let them know and get them a check. And I think some people don't want to necessarily do that because they feel that they'll be confined to the cabin.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't want my holiday ruining.
No.
But take that responsibility. If you are, you might just have
I had tonsillitis
an upset stomach from something you've eaten that's not contagious.
No, I got tonsillitis one time on a cruise and I was like...
But we went and checked.
Yeah. I was like, oh, goodness. And I was prepared. I was like... Oh,
and that was just after the pandemic.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, you've got tonsillitis. Some antibiotics will be fine in 3 days. And I was like... Thanks.
Yeah, and they're like, you don't need to stay in your cabin.
No.
But we did have that discussion. We're like, if they say that there's a chance for it, we're going to be confined to the cabin, and it was only a short cruise as well. We're like, that'll be it. We won't better go anywhere. But we're like, but we've got to do that. And it was 100% the right thing to do. But I think people are very afraid of that.
Yeah.
That, you've spent your hard-earned money. And especially if you don't have insurance or you can't claim things back or you're just concerned about it.
Yeah.
People are a little bit worried. But again, it's taking that responsibility for yourself, because you could have something which, with the medication they give you on board, you feel better in a couple of days. But if you don't take the medication, it could escalate and you'd be far worse.
Yeah.
So taking responsibility for yourself and for them. But do you feel that cruising is generally, have any of these stories that have come out
put me off?
Put you off, especially given that you're now full-time doing this? Has any of it made you sort of more concerned than it has before?
Not really, no, I must admit, because let's face it, I wasn't going to be going on an expedition cruise anytime.
No, with 40 people to...
No, because it's a very pricey exercise as well. And I'm Lloyd Bridges now.
It's definitely not put me off. It has made me think the same as you about, would I want to do one of those type of cruises? It hasn't put me off expedition cruising, because I would absolutely still do the Arctic if there was an opportunity to do that tomorrow.
I don't think we want to go now due to the hemisphere.
That wouldn't bother me whatsoever. But it would make me think twice about doing one of those ones where it's more like exploring a jungle or type environment.
Oh,
like,
everything's going to eat me.
Well, you'll get bitten to pieces.
I always do.
And then you'll feel you'll have lurgy.
Yeah.
So for us, we just won't do that. We'll do different types of cruising. And that's the thing, because cruising isn't a thing of just you do this one type of cruising. That expedition one was a very niche element of it.
It's making me very uncomfortable because it happened, very shortly after.
You decided to go full time. Well, to be fair, you decided 3 months before that.
Yes, but
it was a few days after you actually started.
Typical me. Me.
But I don't.
It's not all about me. It's just, And I'm still going to be. I'm going to be good. Still don't like a hand dryer on. I don't think hand dryers are great.
You prefer towel dryer?
I prefer, but then there's the
I would like
the environment
for the cruise lines. What I would like them to have is the bathroom doors on all cruise lines, and they'd have to do this when they're going to refit. That when you're going back out, they're automatic. You don't touch a handle.
Well,
because when you're going in, it don't matter.
Because you're washing your hands. You're going to be
But when you go back out,
there's just
have automation. It would be, whilst it'd be a cost because that's on every bathroom door. If you're doing a refit, is it honestly
I think
that much?
It'd be a fortune.
And certainly when you're building new ships,
it'd be a fortune. But then I don't like
the bare minimum. Literally right next to where you're going out of the door, hand towels.
But they do have those swoopy doors on some ships.
They do, yeah.
But then you close it that way, and then this is going. I'm now going a whole different thing. You don't feel that the door's locked then.
Yeah.
So
it's like that one on the trains, and
I do not use them. I'll walk and try and find just a little loo
with a lock.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of uni-loos either. I'm putting that out there.
Are we on loo chat now?
We're on loo chat now. I'm not a fan of a uni loo.
What about a loo with a view?
That's got all the things I don't like. I feel that I've not brought much to this conversation today.
No, I think you have.
I don't know.
It's about sort of whether we feel to us, as people who go on cruises on a regular basis, that we're any more sort of concerned about it than we were before all these stories came out. And the answer for us is no, we're not.
No.
Because we already felt that we did everything within our power to minimise our chance of getting ill or making other people ill when we're on board. And it's just about taking that personal responsibility. So for me, it hasn't made me any more concerned about doing the types of cruise that we already do. It'd make me think twice about doing a type of cruise that we've never done and we haven't ever really considered.
No.
Which I would have already thought twice about it anyway.
No, I was watching something the other day, and I was loving it was on the Mississippi. It was trendy. And I was like, I'm loving this. And then he said about the mosquitoes, and I'm like, oh no.
Because they do like you, mosquitoes.
They love me.
For whatever reason, I just don't get
They ignore you.
They ignore me, and they have a
beeline.
You can eat buffet with you.
And I mean, I cover myself in DEET as well. This is another thing I have to do. So.
And even then, they'll still have a nibble.
I'll still have one or two. It'll be like the time when I had the espadrilles. That was awful. Anyway, I feel I'm being a bit of a Debbie Downer on this.
We're talking about a subject that's not the sort of easiest laugh out loud type thing, which isn't our normal thing. But I also felt we kind of had to do it, and we both did. It's back to sort of normal stuff for the next. Well, in fact, next one's like the exact opposite of this in everywhere, because it's the confession one. Shall we move on to some news stories,
please?
Which are nothing to do with anything.
Oh, thank goodness!
But the first one's a potentially really interesting one.
What's that?
So it's asking the question: could cruise lines be sued for chair hogs? So we've talked about this a few times on there, where we've seen sort of all the big area beds get taken at 6 a.m. We've been up there and
put a
physically
book
seen
out
it,
and put a book out.
and then you don't see it for the day.
Disappear.
And
Yeah.
but there's actually been a potential precedent set,
Oh.
which whenever there's precedent in court,
Oh.
the people will be worried. So there was a lawsuit for a German tourist.
Mhm.
This is not to do with cruising, but it's setting a precedent in court, who has successfully sued their tour company for chair hogs at a resort in Greece.
Right.
So it didn't involve a cruise, and most cruise lines have policies in place around reserving your lounges
Yeah,
and
that
putting
things
books on
are
there.
yeah.
But enforcement, I would say, is at best inconsistent.
Hit and miss. Yeah.
Yeah, some do it really well, some don't.
Mm.
So, like the cruise lines, this resort did have a policy in place as well about reserving lounges with towels, but they didn't enforce it. So each day, this particular tourist who wasn't identified in the court document
Yeah.
searched for lounges for his family of 4 for 20 minutes, starting as early as 6 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And we've seen this at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
on a
we
cruise
have.
line.
Yeah, we have.
But wasn't successful any day. Every day they were reserved. People had put the towels on, never sure. So they put arguments through the court, including the idea that the tour company failed to ensure that the results ban on lounge reservations was enforced, which impacted the quality of the vacation.
Yeah.
The judges agreed with it.
Oh my goodness, because I guess one of the things in the description is there'll be lounges for you to lounge on and part of the resort description.
And that's it. And whilst he didn't get the full refund of his holiday,
Yeah.
so the holiday apparently cost just over $8,000.
Wow.
So it's not cheap.
No.
But they agreed that the lounges were a key part of the holiday.
Yeah.
And as such, they said that it worked out roughly 14%. So they gave him $1,150 as an reward, as an award.
An award, okay.
Because saying it did specifically impact their ability to enjoy the poolside days,
Yeah.
which was advertised as part of the package.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating story.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make you wonder how long because you probably the most piece that people complain about most on a cruise ship as a bigger item, not just, oh, my food was cold that day or something like that, as an overall thing, is about sort of the deck chairs and the poolside chairs being hogged.
Yeah.
How long will it be until we see someone try and do that? And will it be that because of this that the cruise lines start to enforce it more?
Maybe. I mean, I always worry when we're in the pool and we've left the things, but I guess the team will know if there's like shoes or flip-flops or
There's
something.
There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, they can. I know, but then that's...
They can see on the camera, has someone been there in the last hour?
Oh, you could be in the pool for a while.
They can just say, is this, they come over and just make an announcement, is this anybody in here's belongings?
Make an announcement when everybody's relaxing.
We've sat in a pool and a hot tub for over an hour.
We have.
And generally speaking, they say if your stuff's left unattended for more than an hour,
it'll be
we'll reserve the right to clear it away, and it'll be taken down to guest services.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it without that, but I can definitely see them doing it going forward from this.
This is why I always like the Sanctuary on Princess. You get your own dedicated lounges in there. There's none of this.
Court ruling number 2 for Cruise Story 2.
Oh, this is a grim podcast today.
It's quite an interesting one because it's all about stuff going through from there. And the interesting bit about this is we've just been started watching a series on Apple called Widow's Bay.
Yes.
And in there, there's specific mention of Bar Harbor. Bar Harbor had a cruise ban put in place. Said, we're going to do it. We're going to limit the number of daily cruise passengers to a maximum of 1,000 guests.
Okay.
And they're not the only ones. We've seen other places in Alaska do it. The fjords talk about doing it and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is relevant to the US because it's gone through that.
Yeah.
But a US district court has deemed it to be unconstitutional.
To ban people tipping up?
Yeah. Outside of July and August, where it's already very busy.
Right.
So they've said for every other month apart from those 2 months, it's unconstitutional. to
Okay.
limit it in a month where you aren't limiting it in other ways.
Yeah.
Because what they weren't doing is limit people coming in small boats. They weren't limiting them coming in by car or coach.
Oh, yacht. You mean like small boats, yachts
Yeah,
kind
they
of
were
thing?
specifically saying
Cruise ships.
and
Right.
that's why it's been deemed unconstitutional.
Okay.
So apart from that time of year where it's overly congested anyway,
Yeah.
they've gone,
Okay.
can't do it.
Wow.
So that's a fascinating one. The local sort of councils or whatever it is who put that in
Chamber,
place
Commerce, yeah.
are now deciding whether to appeal about it.
Oh,
or
okay,
what to
no
do.
council
So I
then,
don't
yeah,
think
Chamber of
that
Commerce
it
is-
will necessarily just end with that.
No.
But it was a lot of the local who, cause it's a really small place. There's only 5,500 people live there.
Okay.
So a lot of the residents wanted it in. I expect a lot of the businesses didn't. There's
Mhm.
generally that
Yeah.
sort of flick of people who want to make money from tourism and those who want to live there peacefully.
Yeah.
And it's always incredibly difficult to have that balance on there. But I thought that was genuinely interesting.
I feel this podcast is very heavy duty for us today.
Okay, well, we're going to end on
Oh, thank
a
goodness.
slightly lighter one.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, you like looking for a cruise bargain.
I do.
You do it on a regular basis.
I do.
It is a bit of a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And we've sometimes seen them and gone, that seems too good to be true.
Yeah.
Especially where it's fairly last minute ones and you see it like 90% off and you're like, that can't be right. And we check into it and it's true.
Mm.
However, sometimes the bargain is too good to be true.
Okay.
So Carnival Cruise Lines had a glitch recently, which ended up with, they did a major update to the website.
Which is when the preloading, I'm guessing, when they put all the new 27, 28 itineraries on.
Update.
I could see that happening.
And there was a days-long outage where bookings were disrupted and payments and Christmas, etc. Blah, 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 blah.
The typical, this could happen to any e-commerce business.
Yeah, absolutely. So there were numerous people, when it came back online and they put new cruises on there, went on to see what had come on. We've done that ourselves.
We have.
What's been released. So one particular passenger had found a solo balcony on a Carnival for a 6-night cruise for $300.
Wow.
Now,
that's weird.
Is that impossible? No, because you occasionally see it on like flights and stuff where they'll put them on really cheap for a couple of places. They have limited numbers of those. So not impossible. But that person put on Reddit, hoping Carnival will honour the price because it's quite literally a steal. Turns out they didn't honour that price.
No.
Because some of the people were seeing it as low as $130 for 2 people for a balcony for a week.
Wow.
So it's fair to say that the IT project didn't go maybe quite to plan for that one.
No.
So Carnival, we have seen it where when things like that have happened where they are honoured. But what Carnival said is it was far below any reasonable promotional fare.
Yeah.
And where they would be selling it at a significant loss following an IT issue, where random prices were displayed, then they couldn't do that. And they emailed people to let them know very quickly. This wasn't like 6-7 months later. This were like a couple of days afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think if it had been like just before you were going to cruise,
or if you paid
your 6 months later, or you paid the
final
bill,
balance,
I think you've got a lot more room to moan. If they've refunded your deposit and if you'd paid it in full or anything like that, and it's straight afterwards and it's 2 years before you're going to cruise, I don't think it's unreasonable.
No.
Things like that happen, but doesn't stop looking for a bargain because they do exist. Do they exist at $130 for 2 people to go on a balcony for a week? We've yet to see one.
That would be the dream.
But even Margaritaville don't get that cheap.
No.
So I think if you do see them that's quite that low, maybe ring the cruise line first and just see.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of this episode.
Well, that was a lot for me to deal with today.
It was a heavier episode.
It's not out. I understand why we needed to address it. I don't like it. No. I feel that
it's a more serious one than we.
Yeah, I'm not a serious person.
No.
I don't like to be serious because it can make people feel uncomfortable, and I don't like to do that.
But we like to help people cruise.
We do like to help people cruise.
And people have asked us about this, and we have had questions about it. So we didn't feel we could ignore it. And hopefully this has helped. And
Hopefully.
give people a little bit of assurance and that they feel comfortable cruising. Because that's what we're there to do, to help people
have a lovely time.
Well, that brings us to the end of this particular cruise cast. We're back to sort of craziness next week, next episode with the late night Linzi one. So warnings, that is a adults only cruise cast.
Adults only. I won't be there.
No, you won't. It's late night Linzi for that one.
Late night Linzi.
And you won't see me on there for that one either.
No, just late night Linzi getting hammered, drinking Breath of Paradise.
And reading confessions.
I'll need to literally hulk out with wine for her to arrive.
And then you've got to read.
She's got to read.
450 confessions.
Just make it large print.
I'll make sure that late night Linzi doesn't need glasses.
All right.
There's not.
Thank you for listening and have a lovely day.
Never mind the headlines rolling, never mind the noise they make. There's a deeper current moving in every breath we take. They like to paint a picture stormy, try to make you look away. But when you're standing by the water, you see a different kind of day. You got that fever when you're listening to the stories that they spin. But there's a clarity out here where the open views begin. Keep it cool, let the rumors slide. We're just floating cool upon the tide. There's a rhythm to the healing in the way the world goes around. You can't get caught up in the static of a distant panic sound. Yeah, they talk about the shadows, but they miss the morning light. When you're looking at the big picture, everything is looking right. You got that fever when you're listening to the stories that they spin. But there's a clarity out here where the open views begin. Keep it cool, let the rumors slide. We're just floating cool upon the tide. Step back, take it in, let the steady air begin. It's a wide world, safe and sound. Don't let the chatter pull you down. The stories that they spin, but there's a clarity out here where the open views begin. Keep it cool, let the rumors slide. We're just floating cool upon the tide. Yeah, just let it slide.